going on, Jerome's? So only one more week of Vikings OTAs and then summer break, and we were thinking about still doing some videos, obviously, getting ready for training camp and the season. Vikings hosting dozen drum parties in the next 10 years. Chokes me up inside. But also, so during the off season, we like branching out, talk about life and all that stuff. And I mean, football is fantastic. And I know people get pissed off. It's like, what does it have to do with the Vikings? Well, whatever. Start your own channel. So we put it out to you, the Jeromes, in the community tab. Some life questions, and wanted to dive on in. And you guys are the best, so let's do this. Number one, wish granted. If you could relive your late 20s and early 30s, rude, what would you do differently? Also, what's something you know now about buying a home that you didn't when you were looking at your first house? I'm a first-time home buyer's goal. I guess 20s, maybe have a little bit more fun. Like I was definitely focused on career, grind, all that stuff, but allow myself to have a little bit more fun with the people I love. Yeah, it's certainly up there. Although I am a good time. People don't realize this. Also, first-time home buyer stuff. And I guess definitely find a really good realtor. I know that, like, your aunt is a realtor. I know that everyone has like a college friend who's or a high school friend who's a realtor. No, definitely get someone who's had a very good track record. And also, you can find realtors that specialize in first-time home buyers. So our realtor for both of our houses is Tammy Shade Engers Volkers. I want to say she's fantastic, and I don't know, just like so buying the first house, getting all of your finances ordered, getting all of your paperwork. That's the real dick dragger there. But also, so you can buy a house with 5 to 10% down. But you are going to have PMI, private mortgage insurance. Now, once we saw like the breakdown of the bill, we were just like, all right, we got to get out from under this. So then we got up to the 20% equity in the home because it adds up. Yeah, so I feel like if you can save a couple extra shekels and avoid the PMI, I think that's really good. Even though the market is still kind of interesting right now, because when we bought the second house, like, we were fortunate because a lot of houses were going 10-15% over asking price just because there were so many bids coming in, and also like people were passing up inspections. Now get an inspection because especially in the era of home flippers, there's so many ways that you can just put lipstick on a pig. Because we this last time around, like 4 years ago, we literally saw a house that had a brand new kitchen. I mean, it looked nice, but basically it was all the cheap stuff from Home Depot and Menards and just like a coat of paint. Like you can be tricked pretty easily. And there was a crack in the foundation, and the back deck was literally like a murder trap. Like I feel like if a large enough bird shat on that thing, it was going under. So yeah, don't. Also, like when you're going through the house, don't have a deal breaker be it's like, well, I don't like the carpet in here, or I don't like the paint in here. I mean, those can be replaced very easily. Like, you can do that. Although I will say, so I've laid laminate flooring once. I will never do it again. I don't know how those guys do it every single day. I suppose you build up like a physicality for it, but it's rough. Like, I couldn't walk right for like a week, man. But yeah, just don't be fooled by cosmetic stuff. Basically, look for, does it have a good foundation? What's the roof like? Is there what's the windows? What's the HVAC air conditioning situation? Because I mean, like, those are the horror stories, right? Like when you just buy a house, then all of a sudden it's the middle of winter and the furnace goes out, or it's August, sweating balls and the air conditioner goes out. Just be cognizant of those things, and yeah, be prepared. Like, the whole thing about saving for a rainy day, it's always going to rain with a house. But I feel like there's actually nothing that's more satisfying than doing something with your house, right? Whether it could be something as small as like building shelves, or like I built I built like a workbench out in the garage, and like put like container bins in there, like one of those things that you find on the YouTubes, and it just feel really good. And also, building up equity. Yeah, the whole buying versus renting debate. I know that people have very strong opinions either way. I think it's good to build up equity long term, especially if you know that you're going to stay somewhere. Now, if you're going to be transient, of course, renting does make sense there, passing up the equity, but it sort of is what it is. There you go. So next. Drew Smith, I'm in the midst of a bizarre phase of my life where most of my days are very monotonous, except for us. No. While all the people, my friends and even family around me seem to be going through these big, fantastic things in life. Many of my good friends are getting married. Everything is changing, but I feel like I'm in neutral. Oh, hence the trust company, low position. Trust company, underrated band, man. If that makes sense. So what advice do you have for breaking out of this rut and moving forward? So first off, now, is everyone really having all these successes and amazingness in life, or is that just what you're thinking, or are you just basing this off of like social media? Because social media is just everyone's highlight reel, right? Like, Jordan always looks good on this highlight reel. Like, they don't show the game-winning shots that he missed, or the shots that he missed with the game on the line, right? And I feel like there's a rule of thumb too, like, and you'll see this too, like, the happier the couple looks on social media, where like they feel like they have to post each other like every single day, like this guy, this cutie. Yeah. I feel like that's like overcompensating versus just being cool with each other. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's actually what true love is, but who knows, man. But define what success is for you. And I mean, people are having these things happen because that's their season of life. I mean, having kids, getting married, getting these jobs, etc. But also, like, what does success mean for you? Like Drew Smith. It's not anyone else's definition of success, because comparison is the thief of joy. Because you could be the second most successful person in the world, but if you're always comparing yourself to the first, and you're never going to be happy unless you are the first. I mean, sure, that could be motivating, but also you're really setting yourself up for a horrible existence, man. It's going to be rough. And I mean, yeah, these friends are getting these great jobs. Friends are getting married. Do you want to take just a corporate job just so you could have like letters behind your name, and just punching the clock and just lying on your LinkedIn, and just so at cocktail parties you could be like, I am the CFO of logistics and marketing. No one knows what that means, and no one cares. Or, I mean, friends are getting married. Like, do you just want to shack up and get married to the wrong person? Or what's also common nowadays, have kids with the wrong person. That can make your life hell, brother. I mean, that's why I'm. So we'll get into my wife here in a second, but I mean, there's a lot of people who had kids with the wrong person, both men and women, by the way, and like it really f's with you, like for 18 years. That's like I mean, kids are obviously wonderful, but unfortunately they get caught in the crosshairs too. So it's rough. But, again, what's your definition of success? Do you want to get a better job? You want to make some more cash? You want to have some more freedom? If you want that, just be more disciplined with your money. Do you want to work out? Do you want to take a trip? Do you want to meet someone? I mean, things happen when they happen. Also, if you just work on yourself, like if you want to get in the gym, if you want to have this physique, if you want to have this career goal, if you want to have these achievements, all of a sudden, like, hey, if you work on yourself and you're confident in yourself and you're good to go, and you have something to give in a relationship where it isn't this codependent situation where you're not a broken person and you're basically treating her like your mom, right? And also vice versa. All of a sudden, it's just magical how the right person just sort of pops up. Kind of crazy what happens. But basically, redefine or define in the first place like what Drew Smith's version of success is, right? And don't compare it to anyone else. Don't stress about it, because everyone runs their own race, right? And everyone's finish line is at different points. That's all, man. Also, Rob's. If it's not too personal, Would be interesting to know how it came that you had been adopted by a Scandinavian German family, and did you grow up speaking any of those languages? So, speaking of those languages, no. I do know that Ronkadu means jerking off in Norwegian. I don't know why. Like, I know like how to ask for beer and curse in like 7 languages. I feel like I should put that on LinkedIn. But no, it's not personal. Like, I got adopted out of South Korea. I was born, I forget the town's name, but it was like north of Seoul. So we're just getting kind of close to that border, man. But yeah, so I was born in like the suburbs of Seoul. I was adopted out of Busan, which is where the American South Korean army had their last stand. Last stand, and then came back, baby. And then, yeah, just came over when I was about a year and adopted into a fantastic family. My grandparents were... All right, so my grandmother was German. My grandpa was Norwegian. And they were, I believe, second generation. So, and I guess they'd be first generation because their parents came over from the mother and fatherland. Well, probably shouldn't call it fatherland. Anyways, they came over from the old country. But yeah, I didn't really know. Like, so had lefse, which is fantastic. Like meatballs was always great. Occasionally, grandma make like this sauerkraut, like German casserole, which is really good. We'd eat a lot of fish. I've tried lutefisk before. It's not my jam, but frankly, I'm kind of glad that I tried it. It's like if you had fish jelly, and you know that those Vikings were hardcore. Just like, well, we could starve or we could just try this fish jelly. Probably gonna die of scurvy anyway. And also, hey, our paradise is Newfoundland. If you've ever been to Newfoundland, it is not paradise. That's all, man. Next. Connor Keck, I hear you talk about your family often. How did you know when you finally met the one, my wife, and how did you meet each other? Also, was having kids something you both want? So, I met my wife in college, and I don't know, it was one of those spots where, like I said, if you work on yourself, all of a sudden, like, things just sort of come together, right? And, full disclosure, I had just gotten out of, like, my first, like, really serious relationship. And then my wife came about, and yeah, it just, so we never like officially dated. Like, it wasn't one of those spots. It was one of those things that like it just fit so well, it just made sense, you know. And I feel like so communication is key with any relationship. You know, it could be spousal, it could be friends, it could be siblings, it could be family, it could be personal, professional too. Like, communication is key. So I feel like so many people just like get together and they feel like they're going to change the other one. And I have like a standing notion that people don't change, they just are. Right? Now, of course, you can sort of coerce someone to change for a little bit and just sort of pretend, and then all of a sudden they'll forget, or they'll think that you're appeased enough, and then they'll just go back to their ways. Now, like, that's the thing too, is like trying to force someone into a version that you want. I think that's just a recipe for disaster for both. So the kids one is key, right? So, well, first off, you need to decide, like, I feel like there's too many situationships going on. I feel like everyone's adults going into these spots. Like, hey, is this literally just for fun? Which, I mean, there's certainly room for that. Is this something serious, potentially working towards marriage? Do you believe in marriage? Right? Do you want to get married, or do you just want to have like a long-term partnership? Do you want kids? Do you want to live in the city or suburbs or small town, or whatever? Like, these are important questions. I feel like people don't talk about them because they don't want there to be the wrong answer. And I feel like when one side's like really digging the other, like they'll change your answers. Like, say the person doesn't want to have kids and they want to live in the city, but the other wants to have a bunch of kids and live in the country. It's like, well, I'm kind of really, really, really into the other one. So I don't know, maybe I like the country. And then all of a sudden you're John Mellencamp's supermodel wife, like out in Indiana. No. Also, it's like, if there's something that bugs you about the other, I feel like you have to address it. And also, it's like, I don't know if things will change. You know what I mean? Like, so say one party of the relationship is a little bit older, but they still like to go out clubbing every single weekend, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know what clubs are open on Sunday, but they're out, right? And I don't know, does that really fit in to like financial responsibility or building up equity for a house or raising kids in a family? I don't know. Like, are they the old person at the club? We've all seen that before. Hell, I've been that before, right? Or, conversely, like, say one of the couple, like, say they really like video games, right? It's very common nowadays, right? But punch out of work and work my 9 to 5, and then all of a sudden they're playing 20, 30 hours of video games, right? And they're not going to change. And say that bugs the absolute bejesus out of the other one. I feel like you got to bring it up. Otherwise, this thing goes down the road. And the whole thing about it is communication, because otherwise things fester and you'll build up resentment for that other person. And then you'll forget why you resent them in the first place. Only thing that remains is the resentment. And then all of a sudden you're nitpicking. Like, you don't like the way they load the dishwasher. You don't like the way they clean the cat box. You don't like the way they read. You don't like the way they read. What's that one? Oh, it's To the Coconut Tree. That book, the kids' book, right? So I feel like open communication, and also even before like you get serious, like these are some conversations that you need to have. And also, you need to make sure that person is being genuine. And you need to make sure and be fair to them that they're not the one pretending to like certain things or be into different things just to appease you, right? Because, again, people don't change. People can pretend for a little bit, but that goes away. People just are, right? So I think that's what you need to be looking for. Lastly, Merle Hexham. Do you have plans to start a YouTube that doesn't have to do with football, life, cooking, or whatever? I feel like I probably should. Separate things. Yeah, it'd be good either way. But maybe that'll be the summer project. But I don't know. I feel like going on random rants like this, it's kind of fun. And like we said before, like I know that people get all pissy. It's like, what does this have to do with football? Well, I feel like if like these talks help one person, I feel like it's worth it. I mean, just having a little peace of mind, it's all good. Plus, God dang, now I'm starting to get into the old man advice stage. Like, oh, Sonny, don't do it like me. I don't know, man. But that's it. That's life Q&A. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol. No production value.